fifth graders, here's our second lesson for this week that is due this Friday, the 12th. We are going to be finishing up Module 7, so we're going to do Module 7, Lesson 6, Practice Addition and Subtraction using Equations. So after this lesson, you should be able to solve an addition or subtraction word problem by using an equation to model the problem. And I just want to let you know ahead of time, we're not going to do any of the estimating or is your answer reasonable. We're just going to do the work. The estimation and sometimes is harder than the actual problem, so we're just going to do the work. So after a run, Jared drinks 1 3/4 cups of water. His sister Emily drinks 1 1/2 cups more than Jared. How much water does Emily drink? So the first thing we're going to do is draw bar models to represent the problem. So we can see we've got a bottle here. This is how much Jared drinks. And we don't know how much Emily drinks, but we do know that she drinks 1 1/2 cups more than Jared. So the amount that Jared drinks would be 1 3/4 cups. And then the amount Emily drinks is here, and it is 1 1/2 more than, oops, I'm trying to make a question mark here, more than Jared. So our equation would be to figure out how much water Emily drinks, 1 3/4 plus 1 1/2 equals, we don't know. So equals, we'll give it a W. We'll give it any letter that kind of just shows that that's what we don't know. So we're going to need to rename our mixed numbers with equivalent fractions using a common denominator. So we can see that if we have fourths and halves, we could rename the 1 1/4 or 1 1/2 to fourths, so that way we could add it. So we have 1 3/4 plus, and if I rename this, we still have 1 whole, but then 1/2 becomes 2/4. I multiply my 2 times 2, which equals 4. 1 times 2 is 2. So if I add these two together, 1 plus 1 is 2. 3/4 plus 2/4 is 5/4. Now I cannot leave this as an improper fraction, so I'm going to rename it. So we have 1 whole and 1/4, because I pull out one of the 4/4. So 2 plus 1 equals 3 1/4. So Emily drinks 3 1/4 cups of water. Okay, next page. After school, Sandra walks to the library, then she walks home. What is the distance from school to the library? So after school, Sandra walks to the library, right? Oops, sorry. After school, she walks to the library, then she walks from the library to home. We know how far it is from school to home, and we know how far it is from the library to home, but we don't know how far it is from the school to the library. So we're going to write, so to find the answer, we could say that D for distance plus 1 3/4 equals 5 2/8, right? And then to solve this, we really are going to need to subtract. So the related subtraction problem would be 5 2/8 minus 1 3/4 equals the distance between the school and the library. We know that if we add these two together, these two pieces, they would equal the whole, right? So in order to find one piece, we have to subtract the whole from one of the pieces to find the other missing piece. So we need to rename these. If we have 8s here, we're going to have to rename our fourths to 8s. So we still have 5 2/8 plus 1 so we're going to rename our fourths to 8s. So we had to multiply 4 times 2 to equal 8, so we'll multiply 3 times 2, which equals 6. So 5 plus 1 is 6. 2 eighths plus 6 eighths is 8 eighths. 8 eighths is the same as 1 whole, right? Did I do that wrong? No, I'm thinking I did something wrong here. No, I didn't. Oh, we're subtracting, not adding. Sorry, guys. Oh, you're going to think I'm Looney Tunes. This is what happens when you try to record 6 videos in one day. So 5 minus 1 equals 4. We can't do, oh wait. Okay, let's regroup. Let's just start all over. Okay, so we have 5 and 2 eighths minus 1 and 6 eighths. Okay, I cannot subtract 2 eighths minus 6 eighths. So I'm going to have to rename my 5 eighths. When I rename my 5 eighths, I'm going to have to pull out. I'm going to have 4 wholes, but then I'm going to make a fraction out of one of the wholes to be 8 eighths. So now I have 4 and 10 eighths minus 1 and 6 eighths. I am so sorry about this. So 4 minus 1 equals 3. 10 eighths minus 6 eighths equals 4 eighths. Oh my goodness, I was really out to lunch there for a minute. I apologize for all of that mess. So we had to take our whole number and rename it to 4 and 8 eighths, and then add in your 2 eighths. So we had 4 and 10 eighths. We needed an improper fraction in order to subtract, because we need a bigger fraction here than here in order to subtract, right? It's kind of like when you regroup when you're subtracting. Like if you have a 0 in the ones place, and you have 0 minus 4, you have to look to the tens place to help you regroup. This is the same thing. You have to look to your whole number to help you regroup. Okay? So 3 and 4 eighths miles. I apologize for that mess up. Let's see if this can get better. Alrighty, so the Bakers spend 4.5 hours at the beach. They spend 2 3/5 hours in the water and the rest of the time on land. Write an addition equation and a related subtraction equation to find T, the amount of time they spend on land. How much time do the Bakers spend on land? So we know that for the whole time they're at the beach, it's 4.5 hours. And they spend 2 3/5 hours in the water. So we would be adding our time on land to our time in the water, and that would equal the total time at the beach. But in order to do this problem, we need to subtract. So 4 1/2 minus 2 3/5 equals our T. And then we need to find what our T is. So I need to rename these numbers. What 2 and the 5 have in common would be a 10. So we're going to have 4, I'm going to write it up here just because there isn't enough room. 4 5/10 minus 2 6/10. Now again, my 5/10 is smaller than my 6/10. So I have to regroup. I have to come next door. I have to go to my whole number and say, hey, whole number, I need to borrow something from you. I need to regroup. Can you regroup your whole number into a whole number and a fraction with 10/10? So this would then be 3 15/10, right? Because 10/10 plus 5/10 minus 2 6/10. So 3 minus 2 is 1. 15 minus 6 is 9. So T would be 1 9/10 hours on land. Number 2. Lexi takes photos of food for magazine ads. At a photo shoot, she spends 5-6 hours arranging the food and 1 3/4 hours taking photos of the food. Write an equation to model the number of hours Lexi spends at the photo shoot. How many hours is she at the photo shoot? So this one, we don't know the total hours at the photo shoot, so we have to find it. So this one we have to add. 5/6 plus 1 3/4 equals, we don't know how many hours. So I'm going to rename, what do our 6 and our 4 would have in common? I'm going to go with 12. So we would have twelfths down here. So 6 times 2 equals 12. 5 times 2 equals 10. Plus 1 and, so 5 twelfths. 4 times 3 equals 12. 3 times 3 equals 9. So I'm going to have 1 and 10 twelfths plus 9 twelfths is 19 twelfths. Now I need to rename this because I can pull out one whole in here. This is an improper fraction. 19 twelfths minus 12 twelfths is 7 twelfths. So we'll add our two wholes together, so it will be 2 and 7 twelfths hours at the photo shoot. All right, so we're at the on your own section. You can do it independently and then pause it, do it independently, and come back and check your answers, or just stay right with me. Jason makes a kite that is 3 and 7 twelfths feet tall and makes a kite that is 1 and 1/4 feet taller than Jason's kite. Draw a model to represent the problem and write an equation. How tall is Anne's kite? So we can see this picture, right? We can see Jason's, we can see Anne's. We know that there's a difference. So if we have Jason's kite, we know that Jason's kite is 3 and 7 twelfths feet tall. We know that Anne's kite is longer than Jason's, and the difference is 1 and 1/4 feet. And we don't know Anne's kite. So how are we going to solve this problem? Well, we need to add Jason's number to the difference right between the two to find out Anne's. So we're going to have 3 and 7 twelfths plus 1 and 1/4. So we can rename our fourths. So we'll still have 3 and 7 twelfths. Oops, sorry, equals K. 3 and 7 twelfths plus 1 and, if we rename to twelfths, 4 times 3 is 12. 1 times 3 is 3. That equals K still. All right. 3 plus 3 equals 4. And 7 twelfths plus 3 twelfths is 10 twelfths. So 4 and 10 twelfths feet is how long Anne's kite is. Number 4, David has 3 and 1/4 cups of flour. He needs 2/3 cups to make biscuits and another 2 and 3/4 cups to make baguettes. Does David have enough flour? So this is a two-step problem, right? So he needs 2/3 cups to make biscuits and another 2 and 3/4 cups to make baguettes. So David has 2/3 cups, or needs 2/3 plus 2 and 3/4. That's how much he needs. So, and that equals F for flour. So we're going to rename these. We're going to use twelfths. So we've got 2, twelfths. So we multiply that by 4. So 8 twelfths plus 2 and 9 twelfths, which equals 2 and 17 twelfths. So if I rename this, we have a 1 whole, and we take out a 12 twelfths. So that leaves us with 5 twelfths. So the flour that he needs to make his goodies is 3 and 5 twelfths. Now, does he have enough? Well, he has 3 and 1/4. So let's rename this to twelfths. So we would have 3 and, if I multiply 4 times 3, 3 and 3 twelfths. So does he have enough? He has enough, just a little bit, right? So he would have how much flour left? 3 and 5 twelfths minus 3 and 3 twelfths equals 2 twelfths cup left. Okay, number 5. Mr. Lee's house has 2 stories and an attic. The first floor is 9 1/2 feet high. The second floor is 8 3/4 feet high, and the entire house is 24 7/12 feet high. What is the height of the attic? So here's the first floor, here's the second floor. So these are the two floors, and then we need to find the difference for the attic. So first we're going to add 9 1/2 plus 8 3/4. So we're going to rename our halves to fourths. So, and this will give us the floors. So we're going to have 9, and if I rename this to fourths, 9 2/4 plus 8 3/4. So that would equal 17 5/4. So if we have that, I'm going to rename this to 1 whole and 1/4. So we have the 18 1/4 feet high is the two floors, but the whole house is 24 7/12. So we need to find the difference between these two to figure out how tall the attic is. So now we have 24 7/12 minus 18 1/4. So I'm going to rename my fourths to twelfths. So I'm going to have 18 3/12. So 24 minus 18 equals 6. And 7/12 minus 3/12 is 4/12. So the attic is 6 4/12 feet high. Oops. All right, on to the last page. All right, number 6. We have Roberta, and she's working on a science project for 6 1/6 hours. Her friend Jocelyn works on the project for 2 2/4 hours, longer than Roberta. How long does Jocelyn work on the science project? So if Roberta works for 6 1/6 hours, and her friend Jocelyn works on it 2 2/4 hours longer, we're going to need to add these together. So I'm going to rename, we've got 6 4ths, let's do twelfths. So we're going to have 6 2/12 plus 2 6/12, which equals 8 8/12. 8 8/12 hours is how long Jocelyn works. Alrighty, a cricket jumps away from a frog. Then it takes a second jump. How many inches is the cricket's first jump? So we can see the first jump we don't know, but we do know the total distance the cricket jumps after the two jumps is 12 1/4 inches, and then the second jump is 9 6/8 inches. So we need to subtract 12 1/4 inches minus 9 6/8 inches. So to get a common denominator, we're going to change our 6/4 to 8. So we're going to have 12 2/8 minus 9 6/8. And see, my 6/8 is bigger than my 2/8, so I'm going to have to rename. I'm going to have to regroup, right? So I'm going to have 11 8/8. So this will give me 11 8/8 plus 2/8 is 10/8 minus 9 6/8. So 11 minus 9 is 2. 10/8 minus 6/8 is 4/8. So it would be 2 4/8 inches is that first jump. Number 8. Lauren measures 2 1/4 cups of flour for a recipe. She then realizes she needs to add 2/3 cup of flour. Does Lauren use more than or less than 3 cups of flour? Well, let's see. We're going to add these two together. 2 1/4 plus 2/3. So let's rename our fractions to twelfths. So we're going to have 2 3/12 plus 8/12. So 2 8 plus 3 and 11/12 cups of flour. So she uses less than 3 cups, right? She uses 1/12 less than. All right, and our very last question, a piece of quartz has a mass that is 2 1/2 kilograms greater than the mass of the granite. Write an equation to model the mass of the quartz. What is the mass of the quartz? So the quartz has a mass of 2 1/2 kilograms greater than the granite. So we have 6 4/5 plus 2 1/2. So we need to rename these. We'll use tenths. So 6 8/10 plus 2 5/10, which equals 8 13/10, which we need to, rename. So we're going to pull out 1 whole and 3/10. So we'll have 9 3/10 kilograms. kg is kilograms. So you are going to do 7.6 independently. You do not need to explain you do not need to estimate or explain reasonableness. You just have to find either the difference or or how much they're together. So for question number 1, you don't have to do any of the assessing for reasonableness. So you don't have to do the second bulleted point or the last bulleted point, but everything else please do. Okay? I hope you have a great week, and I will see you soon. Bye.